Serious. What are some cryptid, ghost, or unexplained stories you'd be willing to share? I don't know why, but my childhood house was haunted even though it wasn't even that old. I think it was like built 4 years beforehand. Anyways, the house was just weird. My parents never believed my siblings and I. But when we were alone, we would see shadows out of the corner of our eye. When watching TV, you could see into the hallway and into the guest bedroom and just always see something there, and I remember we always kept the door closed for that reason. One night, I was up for whatever reason, probably like 10 years old or something, and my sister suddenly calls my name at like 1 a.m. We shared a room, and she scared the heck out of me. I answer back and she's all like, "Did you hear that girl crying?" And I asked what TF does she mean, and she says she heard a little girl crying in front of our window. Now I'm freaking out because my bed was next to the window, and that window faced the front yard, so anyone could gain access, but the craziest thing was that I didn't hear a thing. I told her to shut up and tried to go to sleep even though it freaked me out. Probably at 3 a.m., I'm awoken by the same girl crying right outside. I was scared, but I just tried my best to ignore it. We discuss it in the morning, and we were really hoping it was our little brother. It was a long shot, but we asked him and he said no, it wasn't him. He thought we were the ones crying. And he was on the opposite end of the house, and of course, my parents didn't hear anything. But one that actually happened directly to me was when I was like 11 to 12. My parents went to work at 4 a.m. 6 a.m. and they would wake me up to go sleep with my little brother as he had a problem sleeping by himself and would cry when they left. I was fine with it, but I would be the first to wake from my siblings to get ready for school. It was probably like 7:40 when my alarm went off and I got up to use the restroom. As I'm sitting up, clear as day, I hear a man with the deepest voice ever go, "Don't go, stay with me," and I just froze. After a couple minutes, I just laid back down and hoped it was over. After my second alarm to wake up my siblings went off, I got up because I didn't hear anything else for 20 minutes. My brother who was right next to me didn't hear anything, and neither did my sister. No one in my family has a voice that deep, let alone, no one in the house could speak like that, as we were two 12-year-old girls and a 5-year-old boy. But I never heard talking after that, and we moved when I was 13 years old. We always told my mom about this, and she never believed us. Not a single child she believed, until one night, we all just sat down and talked, and she told us how she also felt it, but thought we were being dramatic. Until one day, her friend felt the biggest slap on her butt from nothing. Again, no one there. Then my mom starting wondering if maybe we were telling the truth, especially since years have passed and we all have stuck with the same story. Never experienced anything like that again. I've seen Sasquatch. Before anyone asks, it was in Rhode Island. I didn't seriously believe in Sasquatch before I saw one. When I was a kid, I'd read about Bigfoot and think how cool it would be, but I never really bought into it. I was walking in the woods in February 2018, and I saw some big bipedal creature walking through the river. I'd say it was between 6 and 7 feet tall, so I split the difference and say 6'6". I stopped to stare, so I didn't take my phone out to record. Even if I did, my camera quality is absolute dog crap. Let me stress this, it was not a bear. Its arms swung when it walked. The gait was practically identical to the Patterson-Gimlin footage. Since then, I've gone into the woods hundreds of times, with others and alone. One of my friends believes he's also seen Sasquatch in those woods. I think there are at least 3 of them. In all the time I've spent in those woods, I've never had a sighting as clear as that first one. I've had a few quick glances here and there, but I haven't had a good luck. If anyone's interested, I have a document recording sightings and other incidents. I know it's hard to believe, and it's even harder believe being in Rhode Island, but I swear I wholeheartedly believe there is a big humanoid running around in the area. They're mostly peaceful. I think there are many species like Sasquatch spread worldwide. There's the Yeti, the Yowie, the Yeren, the Almas, etc. I firmly believe they're out there. I will say, I don't believe in the typical Yeti. I'm 90% sure the abominable snowman is just misidentified animals. I think I remember Yeti being explained as an extinct bear species. I don't really believe in the paranormal. In fact, I don't really believe it at all, but I do have a few stories that stick with me that are unexplainable to my brain even years later, with a more adult and reasonable thought process. The first that comes to mind is one I always tell my friends that gives me chills and freaks me out, and will always make me feel some type of way for the foreseeable future. I was probably 9 or 10 at the time and my dad was in the military. We were stationed in Fort Knox and lived on base in a provided military apartment. I moved around a lot growing up and have plenty of superstitious family members. So at the time of being a child, the fear of the supernatural always existed. I lived pretty normally, and then I made a friend named Dylan, hope he is doing well these days. One day, after school, his mom invited me over to their home, they also lived on base. Right away, entering that apartment, I felt very uneasy or like someone was watching me. However, as the day went by, I played with him and his little sister, and things were normal. Nothing amiss, and so on his birthday, I returned to his home for the final time. When I came through the door again, I got that uneasy feeling. This time I asked him about it, and his demeanor changed as well as his little sister's. He didn't really want to talk about it. Being young, I found that to be a bit strange. As his birthday went on, I found myself needing to use the bathroom. There were 2 bathrooms, one upstairs and one downstairs. I went to enter the bathroom downstairs, and without a missed breath, him and his sister both say, "We don't use that bathroom. Don't go in there." I didn't really think much of it until he asked if I would stand outside the door of the upstairs bathroom while he used it. Things now seemed off, and that uneasy feeling sank in. I complied, we went upstairs, he went to pee and left the door wide open and asked me not to let anyone shut it. Which freaked me out because it was just me and him upstairs. I was dying to piss and asked if he would stand outside because now I was nervous. To which he refused. Angry that he didn't return the favor, I stormed off downstairs, yanked the bathroom door open, and meant to take a piss, kind of funny, and it gets a little funnier and terrifying. 10 years old, pants halfway down, I am about ready to piss when the lights go off. The switch is inside as well as the lock. Which frightens me because now I can't see and I have my pants down. Then it flicks back on and then off again, and then it begins happening a lot more rapidly. What gives me chills is that to this day, I distinctly remember seeing the light switch flip itself up and down on its own. This picks up, now a terrified 9 or 10-year-old, I begin to panic and try to open the door. I got the door open at about a head's width, and it slammed on me really hard. Lights are still flickering. I open it again and go to step out, and it slams on me even harder. Now crying for his mom or anyone, because the lights are flickering and the door is slamming on me. His mom hears me plea and is yanking on the door, to which I am pushing. Finally, the door flung open and both her and I went falling forward at the force. I cried and went home. It really ruined me being friends with Dylan, and we never talked about it. I remember later, my mom asked if I remembered that story and told me his mother called and apologized. She also proceeded to tell my mom further that her and her husband had been experiencing a lot of things in the apartment. One being that she would wake up in the night to something raising the covers off of her husband and whispering his name. I don't believe in ghosts, but that is one of the most terrifying and unexplainable portions of my childhood. And experience unlike any other. I work graveyard shift security, and the shadows don't act right. The human shadows where they shouldn't be are one thing, but I can dismiss them, even when I'm inside an unlit room illuminated by light that just reflects in and casts none. What gets me is when I'm inside and pacing around between patrols sometimes, I see something pacing with me from the corner of my eye. It's on 4 legs, but its gait is messed up, like it has human hips and shoulders, but its 4 legs are as long as its hind legs. It's got a build like you took a dog and stretched its limbs out. Then flattened and elongated its abdomen. Its head is oversized like the head of a huge boar on the body of a tall but thin dog. Like the silhouettes, it's just a shadow and I only see it out of the corner of my eye and when I've just been light blinded. You know how when you look at a bright light, then away it leaves an after image of the light source's shape? Instead of that, I'll see the shadow thing. It's not always following me when I see it. But mostly, it's inside and I leave when I see it. The idea I have of what it looks like comes from many brief glimpses over a couple years. The worst part is the way it moves. With the body style I described, but like the music video for Schism at 3:17 in. Anyway, brains are weird. Ghosts have always gravitated towards me. I used to live in an apartment that was redone because of a fire, and someone died because of it. I had no clue that the apartment I lived in had the death. I happened to choose the room where the woman passed. The whole time I lived there, I'd get shaken awake at 7:30 every weekday morning. I'd look and see no one. Go back to sleep and immediately get shaken again. Look, and again see no one. Try to sleep again. Get shaken even harder. I'd get up and go to the couch. At 8 a.m., I'd get shaken again. Go back to my bed to go back to sleep. I worked nights as a dishwasher, so 7:30 and 8 was too early for me. When my girlfriend moved in with me, that's when I realized it was a woman who died in my room when the fire happened. Because after my girlfriend moved in, I'd still get shaken awake every weekday morning at 7:30 and 8 o'clock, but my girlfriend wouldn't. Women get changed together all the time, so having my girlfriend in the room was fine to this ghost, but not me. And 30 minutes is just enough time for a woman to get ready for work after her shower. We figured she liked us because we'd start to hear a disembodied laugh every now and then. Not a bad laugh, a genuine that's funny laugh. It spooked everyone who heard it at first, but we got used to it after a while. Then one day, my girlfriend invited my ex-girlfriend over. No biggie, they were friends. My ex and I agreed after a troubled relationship that we're better friends. That female ghost hated my ex. The room would get cold whenever my ex came by, and she'd hear angered growls. Just my ex. One night when they were getting ready to head out to the bar, my ex took a shower at the apartment because it was better than hers. She comes out of the bathroom white as a ghost and scared. "Didn't you hear me yell?" she asked us. "I thought you guys were playing with the light in the bathroom." It kept going on and off. I could hear the switch. Then the water goes ice cold, and I could see the outline of a hand go past the shower head. No, not a word came from the bathroom. "I guess the ghost doesn't like you," said my girlfriend. "You did not say anything about a ghost here," my ex said sternly. "How can you live like this?" "Oh, she loves us. We make her laugh," I said. "Really? All I hear are growls when I'm here. Explains why it gets cold when you come by," my girlfriend said. "I thought you had no heat. Heat bills paid. It only happens when you're here," I said. "Fine. I won't come by anymore. She clearly hate me," my ex said. She never went back to the apartment. After that, it went back to normal. Every weekday I'd get shaken awake at 7:30 and 8 o'clock. The disembodied laugh came back. Then a year later we moved out. I'm fairly certain the ghost came with us because my roommate who lived with us said it was too quiet and the apartment door stopped opening and closing on its own at 8 o'clock on weekdays. I had no clue about the door to the hall until he said that.